This is probably the most intense conversation that I've had in crypto. Check it out. All right, I'm still here at the LA Convention Center in the exhibition room, still looking at the projects. I just had a conversation with XRP, a little heated. I came in hot with some questions, but CJ did a good job in answering them. Check it out and see what you guys think.
What's up?
Okay, so thank you for joining me for doing this. I have a podcast and I like to interview the projects that are being showcased here and seeing what their mindset is, what the ideology is. So tell me about Ripple and what they're doing for NFT space. I just saw, it's right there, it says $250 million creator fund. Stop by here to learn more. So
all right.
pitch me.
So I'm an engineer, so I can only pitch Creator Fund so hard. But yeah, so first we're launching NFTs on the XRP ledger, right? That should happen in Q2, like very soon. And then we're doing a lot of things to sort of get people to issue NFTs and build on that. So there's a developer grants program, which anyone that's building some sort of NFT project, right? They apply and we can give them a grant. So facilitates more developers building on the ledger. And then the Creator Fund is for like artists, right, that want to make NFTs and then mint them on the ledger. So we fund those people as well if they have a good idea.
So you're creating a place for them to come in to create the NFTs and then to sell it? Is it also a marketplace?
We don't make the marketplace, but like other people are making the marketplace, and we fund.
So I see. So they're building. Oh, so you're funding the people that are building the marketplace on Ripple.
So we build the layer one solution, right? We build the NFT implementation, right, on the chain, etc. And then other people build on top of that, right? We don't mint the NFTs, but we fund other people to mint NFTs.
Is there any difference to your NFTs? Are they going to be, because I've heard of like interoperability, I've heard of immutability.
Yeah.
Are they going to be unique in that way, or are they just like the simple
They're pretty
data?
Much standard. The main difference is our NFTs, they're not a smart contract, right? They're implemented natively on the ledger. And so they're a lot faster and more efficient that way. They take up less space, so the ledger can handle more NFTs, right? Transactions process faster. But one of the biggest things about our NFT implementation and XRP ledger in general is it's really cheap, right?
Yeah, the fees are cheap.
Our fees are like a cent, right? So you want to mint NFTs, you can just mint 1 million, right? Just pay, I don't know, 1 million cents.
Yeah.
So like, versus like Ethereum where gas fees are like really expensive and prohibitive, right? So that's like the biggest thing, I think.
Yeah, no, I think that's a big shift that you guys offer, which is, being cheap. That's a huge thing.
And also, since they're supported natively on the ledger, you don't have to write a smart contract, right? There's just a certain transaction type, mint NFT, and that's it, and it just works.
So it's the execution is just straight into blockchain.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So you could do it from like a client library. You could realistically do it from your phone, right? Like mint NFT, mint another NFT, like blah, blah, blah. Like you don't have to write a smart contract.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing.
So I've been in the space myself since 2013, and I've seen a lot of changes in the space.
Yeah.
I remember when Ripple started. It was like 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
So I have some questions.
Okay.
Ripple since the beginning has been very driven by institutional money. I remember looking back then and seeing the flow of money coming into the space, specifically to this project, and also the marketing that they focused on in the beginning. So, and also recently I saw the hires. I saw you guys hired from the U.S. Treasury as well as, what was the other one? The U.S. Treasury and, MasterCard. Mm-hmm. So I know that crypto is trying to shift away from centralization, right? From centralized governing or centralized scrutiny. But then you guys are hiring these people that are coming from those systems. So my question to you is the mindset of Ripple still sovereign? Are we still moving towards true decentralization? Like I understand that there are different types of blockchains where some layers can be centralized, other layers can be decentralized.
Yeah.
So is the mindset of Ripple still moving towards that direction?
Yeah. So it's a bit complicated, right? So Ripple's sort of two companies in one, right? We have RippleNet, which is enterprise software, which is where the MasterCard people are going, right? They work for Ripple RippleNet, right? It makes sense why you would hire those people for that. It's closed source, it's used by banks, institutions, all that stuff. But that's built on top of the XRP ledger. And so on the other side of the company, we have this thing called RippleX, which is we maintain the XRP ledger and all types of libraries around it and want developers to just build on it, right? Whether they're minting NFTs or they want to do something else, right? It's a truly like, kind of like a typical blockchain, like more like Ethereum, where it's just whoever wants to build on this in a permissionless, decentralized way can build on this. So we're kind of pursuing both things at the same time. Like at the base layer, we're just building a general purpose blockchain anyone can build on. And then it just so happens this other part of our company is building on it, is building a more centralized service on top of that decentralized service.
Is there a way to see if there's any sort of data mining happening from the first company to the second company?
What do you mean mining?
I'm just thinking like, because there are so many layers to blockchain, and you can centralize and decentralize whatever you want, essentially.
Yeah.
So is there any part of the, I guess, what do you call it, RippleX?
RippleX is the one that maintains the ledger, and RippleNet's the enterprise.
Yeah, so is there any part of that RippleX that's centralized, that's feeding data into the main company?
No. The RippleX part is like fully decentralized, and it's up to RippleNet to build on it.
Open source, fully, everybody can read it? Okay.
Yeah, it's fully open source. It's a typical blockchain, right? The only thing that's different is our consensus mechanism is a little different, but that's not people will call it centralized, but that's not like centralized in the sense like talking about, where it's for RippleNet. It's not like that.
Yeah, well, what I've heard the centralization issue is that there's a small amount of wallets with a lot of the tokens. That's what I've heard.
Well,
that's an issue.
Yeah.
If you have a centralization of tokens, that means that there's a few amount of people that can go, hey, I don't want this anymore, and just dump it.
Yeah.
So So what do you have to say?
That's an issue, right? Like Ripple itself holds a ton of tokens, right? But there are like legal things where we can't just dump all the tokens, right? And there's other people. Most of the addresses, if you know who they are, and most of the people that hold a ton of XRP, we know who they are. And there is like legal things you're not allowed to just dump it. But that is a problem, right? It's because we don't mine it. It was just pre-mined and then distributed.
It has to sit somewhere, and you have to trust somebody with it.
Yeah, you kind of have to trust them to not dump it.
I guess
we have no incentive to dump it, right? Like, why would we dump it and crash our own price? Like,
good
you know
point.
What I mean?
So here's my question: if with knowing that and knowing that you know who it is there any sort of plan to eventually shift that, or at least I don't know, maybe have some sort of I don't know.
It's also in an escrow account.
Because as a person that's been in the space for a while, I have issues trusting XRP because I'm like, there's a few wallets that own a lot of it. I have to trust these people that are just not going to dump on us. And you're right in saying what you said. But it's still, we're trying to move away. We're trying to move into a trustless system. So like,
well, it's trustless in a lot of sense. You're talking about the price. Like you want to like trust the price, right?
No. I want to trust.
Even if you dump
trust.
Even if we dumped it, the whole system would still work. It's just you're just concerned about the price.
You're making a good point.
Yeah.
You're making a good point.
The whole system would work fine.
Well, so
quickly,
what's the issue?
safety.
What's the issue with if it's not the price, right? Let's take that out of the table. Is there an issue with centralizing a lot of tokens in a wallet? Or a few wallets?
I don't think so, because we're not proof of stake. If we were proof of stake, yeah, because then all of a sudden these like whales can just make the protocol do whatever they want. But we're not, right? So that kind of actually offsets it, right? We have these big wallets, but they don't affect the consensus mechanism. They don't affect what is implemented, at the protocol layer. They don't affect anything. They just hold it, and they can impact the price if they want to. They probably have an incentive not to, but yeah.
You're getting some good answers. These guys some good answers. I wasn't expecting good answers. Wow. So man, and it's funny because that's how I teach it. I teach let's step away from the dollar value of things and really look at the function of like, what are we doing with this? Like, what is we using it for? And you don't need tokens.
Exactly. You know what? Since you're talking to me and talking about decentralization, I'll just give my full pitch. I think like XRP is one of the most decentralized cryptocurrencies in a sense with the way our consensus mechanism works. Because most crypto is either proof of work, which inevitably becomes centralized because it's sort of like an economics thing, right? You start mining, you get more, and there's a few miners or mining pools that mine everything. Proof of stake does the same thing, even quicker, actually, because you have a bunch of money, you stake, you're more likely to get the block, then you get more money from that, and it just keeps going, right? And there's even analysis around this, right? But that's the general idea. But XRP's not like that. We're not proof of stake, we're not proof of work, there's no block rewards, and the validators are sort of this curated thing where it's selected by the community. It's just a list of like 40 different node node operators that are validators, selected not even by Ripple, by the community, and they're spread. We know who they are, and they're spread across the world, right? So instead of it being some black box where it's like this address, this address, this address, this address, and maybe they're all in collusion, right? It's this thing where it's this university, that university in Asia, in Europe, in the United States, like, you know, some other organization that you can see, like, oh, these organizations aren't connected to each other, right? It's geographically distributed, right? It's different types of people with different incentives. You know, it's like curated decentralization, right?
That's interesting because I've been saying recently that I think true decentralization will start more at a local level and not really the global level.
Yeah.
But it's essentially, you know, what you're describing is that you have these local nodes that are trustworthy and well known. Then you spread from that out and create more around that specific one, and that kind of creates a local decentralization instead of a global one.
Yeah, exactly.
But then at the end, you're still kind of globalizing because it's using the same operating system.
Yeah. Because these mechanisms like proof of work, at first they're decentralized, but eventually it becomes centralized. It's just like this society, right? Like, you know, like we have a decentralized economy, but then there's just huge corporations that eventually just run the whole shit. So
interesting. This is very, very enlightening for me. Like I said, I've been in the space since 2012, 2013, and I've always had this weird hesitancy with XRP.
Yeah.
Just because of that in the initial days, there was just so much money being driven in. I was like, whoa, where's this coming from?
Yeah.
Why are we all interested in this all of a sudden?
Yeah.
But thank you so much for the answers. You really answered them.
Maybe you're not as skeptical now.
I'm not as skeptical. yes, definitely more open to diving in deeper into it. So one last thing, what can you tell the people that are watching? Like, what can they do if they want to tap into this $250 million, whether they're a creator being in front of the camera or behind the camera?
Yeah, I mean, you got to go on the website. There's this like QR code right here, right? You go on the website, you get a bunch of info, and it's if you're a creator, you can apply, and we have a bunch of grants that go out if we think you have a good idea, because we want people to build on the ledger, right?
Awesome, I appreciate it so much. What was your name again? CJ, thank you so much, CJ. I really appreciate it.
What's your podcast called?
Whoa, the answers were pretty extraordinary. I'm very excited about those answers, and I'm really thumbs up for CJ from XRP for having those answers in the moment. I came in hot, right? I asked some tough questions, but he really delivered in some of my doubts. Doesn't mean I'm sold. I've been in the space long enough to know that I still need to poke and prod a few things, but so far it's definitely opened up my mind to possibilities and what they can do. And who knows? Maybe XRP is going to be a good one. So let's do it.